This was Barcelona's last season. Risky but unpredictable in defense, surgical and devastating in attack. 4 straight wins in the Clásico, a domestic treble, the team was practically untouchable. Fast forward to this season, this is where we are. Predictable in attack, lethargic in midfield and vulnerable in defense. So vulnerable in fact that we've just lost 2 games in a row for the first time since Hansi Flick took charge as coach. We're barely recognisable, guys. Now, I've taken the time to analyse why and how we've fallen so far from glory, and in this video, I'm revealing the tactical and psychological fixes that could bring Barcelona back to their brilliant best. But before we talk about how to fix it, we need to understand why it all fell apart. You see, last season, these players were underdogs. They were hungry, ruthless, and played with something to prove. Hansi Flick channeled that hunger into dominance, transforming their squad into a team that produced some of the most electrifying performances we've seen from Barcelona in years. But that's the thing with success, it can sometimes breed comfort, which breeds complacency, and complacency kills hunger. So now it's back to the old Barcelona. Missed chances, flat performances, and just a lack of cutting edge. What is missing? Dedication. The very thing upon which Flick's Barcelona was built in the first place. And that's solution number 1. You must play only the players who are fully dedicated and willing to give 100% on and off the pitch. Guys, in 2004, Porto won the Champions League for the 2nd time in their history under Mourinho. In 2005, Liverpool came back from 3-0 down at halftime to beat a star-studded AC Milan in the Champions League final. But that's not all. In 2010, Inter Milan knocked out our very own Barcelona out of the Champions League in the semi-final to eventually go on and win the title. Shall I go on?
Shall I go on?
What did all of these teams have in common? They weren't the favourites, but they had dedication. Dedication is what allows a player like Eric Garcia, despite lacking the talent, to be able to outperform players like Koundé and Araujo at right back and centre back respectively. It's dedication, commitment and a willingness to improve. If you don't believe me, well, how about this? Did you know that Eric Garcia has scored more goals in 2025 than Jules Koundé and Ronald Araujo? That's not even the trick. 2 of those goals have come when Barcelona were 2 goals down. Against Inter Milan, 2 goals down, he scored the goal that started the comeback. 5 days later against Real Madrid, Barcelona were 2 goals down, he scored the goal that started the comeback. Just 3 weeks ago against Real Oviedo, Barcelona were 1-0 down. Eric Garcia scored the goal that started the comeback and we ended up winning 3-1. Balls are floated into the box. Eric Garcia is always the one on hand to direct it home. He's not the quickest, he's not the tallest, not the strongest, but it's the desire to win, to prove himself that drives the results. And you can see, and I'm not saying Eric Garcia is our most talented player. No, he's not. Far from it, actually. I'm saying all of this to say that football is not played with talent alone, but with heart. If your heart is not in the right place, you can't win. You can't. It's too competitive. Too competitive for you to just show up and expect to win. That is arrogant. That's what happened to Real Madrid last season. Barcelona have slipped into that state where they're caught napping way too often. Guys, people look at the Barcelona teams from 2009 to 2015 and think it was all about talent. Yes, we had incredible talent, but so did Real Madrid. But talent alone cannot do the magic, as PSG eventually learned before they brought in Luis Enrique. You need players that buy into the philosophy and the identity of the club. For Barcelona, it has always been showing on the pitch that we are more than a club, and certain players do not represent that on the field right now. Look at Koundé, for example. He's been benched on 3 occasions by Hansi Flick for arriving late to training. How is he still a starter when this is a clear sign that he's more interested in modelling than football? Release him and let him go do fashion. Barcelona is not a runway, it's a football club. It's too many players in the team that are not committed to the club, they're not committed to the badge, and they're not hungry to win. They need to wake up or leave. And you might be asking, well, if they leave, who's going to replace them? Well, this brings me to my next solution, La Masia. Now, Xavi may not have had the dream career as a Barcelona manager that we all anticipated, but if there's one thing we can't deny, he gave the young players a chance. Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Paul Kubasi and even Pablo Torre. All of these players had their first starts for Barcelona under Xavi. These are the players that Hansi Flick inherited and deployed to much success last season. Xavi understood the Barcelona way. As long as you have the DNA, it doesn't matter how young you are, you can play. This is why Sergio Busquets went ahead to become the most polarizing figure in defensive midfield in the modern era. A young player who's willing to prove himself is more useful to the team than a veteran who cannot be asked to make a tackle. And I don't want to single anyone out, but I want to see Rooney Bargi play more minutes in Lamine Yamal's absence out on the left. I want to see Dro, Tony Fernandes, Jofre Torres, Marc Bernal, only field players that want to give their all. And speaking of fielding players, my third and final solution, have a clear, defined team selection. Now, this is something I didn't think I'd need to address under Hansi Flick, but in recent matches, his team selection has been a bit off. I don't know if it's the injuries or the pressure from recent performances that's got into him, but he needs to brush it off and once again become that bold, brave and audacious manager that we all fell in love with. Play the players who are dedicated and use them the right way. In the game against Sevilla, for instance, Balde and Rooney Bargi should have started that match. Plain and simple. If those two players started, we could have beaten Sevilla. So this is the formula I'd suggest. Keep Rashford on the left, Rooney Bargi on the right, and Ferran Torres or Lewandowski in the middle. And speaking of these two, I'm sure we're pretty clear on how to use them by now. When you want to play quick counter-attacking football, breaking defensive lines and hitting on the break, Ferran Torres is your man. If you want to be more direct, launching balls in the box or holding up the plate to get more bodies in attack, Lewandowski is your man. Let Rafinha play in the number 10 position and get more comfortable playing there because Dani Olmo is not reliable. Araujo doesn't understand the high line. He needs to only be brought on when the team wants to defend deeper. Now, this might affect his confidence, but I'm sure he'll adjust and adapt. It's better to have a player that understands his role and plays it happily than forcing players to play in roles that they simply can't. Gerard Martin is being forced to do what Balde does. He's not good on the ball, he can't run, which means he can't offer us much in attack, and cannot recover quickly enough to stop the counter-attacks. So you need to play him as a defensive fullback and keep Rashford or Rafinha in front as the attacking wingers. Keep it traditional, the shoehorning is not working. When we don't have our first team healthy, you cannot play the same way. You just can't. You don't have the personnel, so keep it traditional. 4-3-3, so you don't need fullbacks running forward all the time and exposing us to cheap counter-attacks. This should be made clear to everyone in the team. When roles are not clear, player expectations are not met, and they become disgruntled and less committed. Those that are aligned with the coach's plan can stay, and those that do not can leave. Okay guys, I know I've said a lot, but these are my suggestions. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, and if you feel that I've missed anything, feel free to bring it to my attention and we'll discuss. Thank you for all of the amazing support, and hopefully the team comes back from the international break feeling refreshed and with a renewed sense of purpose. And I'll be back here soon with more amazing content on our great club. But until next time guys, see you soon, and Visca El Barca.